Take a look at this. Just days ago, residents here in this rural pocket of Goose Creek pointed to potholes like this becoming a major concern for them. So I reached out to the South Carolina Department of Transportation, and when I came back today, I found many potholes just like this one filled with fresh asphalt. But residents say that this is a story they've seen before. They say these fixes are just temporary, and they're still waiting on a long-term solution.
The work they have done, it's like a Band-Aid job all through the 3 streets. It's just going to create more problems in the long run.
Residents in a rural neighborhood in Goose Creek are raising the alarm. Off Maple Ridge Drive, neighbors say their daily drive has turned into a constant game of dodging the damage. With deep potholes, uneven pavement, and patchwork fixes along Dew Avenue, Linus Street, and Paul Street.
We've been experiencing this issue for, I'd say, a good 5 years. And we call them and they come out here for the potholes. They drop a little asphalt, then we don't hear nothing from them.
They tell me they've called the state for help, but when crews do show up, what quick fills they get don't hold. And residents claim the rough spots come back worse than before.
Everybody back here pays state taxes just like everybody else in other neighborhoods. I know this ain't the Taj Mahal back here, but it is state streets, and I think they should be fixed right.
And for them, this is bigger than an annoying commute. They worry about safety on these streets, the toll on their cars, and whether an ambulance or fire truck can get through when seconds count.
One of my vehicles, I've had to replace a motor mount on, I had to replace an oil pan, got it. And everybody around here is front end alignment's out. You get a new one, it's out within weeks because the roads are so bad back here.
The South Carolina Department of Transportation says they received maintenance requests from residents in the neighborhood in 2021, 2023, and 2025. But residents allege all holes weren't fixed, and the issue is those quick fixes aren't working.
The only solution for this is to repave the roads. They've been neglected for 30-plus years. It's like an old car. If you let it rust to nothing, there's no coming in and bondoing it. You got to replace it.
Residents here say they'll keep reporting new potholes, but what they're really waiting for is a permanent fix and not another patch job. For Live 5 News, Maya Brown. Today I rode along with the Wave There and Back. They're a nonprofit working to close the transportation gap here in the Low Country. And I met a mother who has a daughter who uses a wheelchair and says these free rides have changed her life for the better. And that's really what it is. A mission born out of love, making sure people in need have a way there and a way back. For Ingrid Prieto, the way there and back used to mean juggling multiple Ubers to get her daughter with disabilities from school to medical appointments, then back home. Costs stacking up fast.
En varias ocasiones también los Ubers.
She says on several occasions, also the Ubers, when they arrive and see me with a chair 3 or 4 times, they canceled the trip. I mean, they told me no because it doesn't fit in the trunk. And well, sometimes I know it did fit, but they just didn't want to take me. The canceled ride meant a canceled appointment until she was connected with a nonprofit stepping in with free rides to the people who need it most.
Muy agradecidas por la ayuda que nos.
She says we are very grateful for the help he has given us because it is free and he doesn't charge us anything. In fact, there are days where he even brings flowers to the girl. Their mission? To end the transportation gap. And it's not just medical visits. These rides can also mean getting groceries, prescriptions, and basic necessities.
It's so much fun picking up people that can appreciate the ride. They truly appreciate the fact that you're there to help them get from here to there. It's more challenging than a lot of people understand.
Experts say transit deserts are widespread in the Low Country, and in a city as car-dependent as Charleston, that can put care out of reach. Now, a $20,000 grant from the Roper St. Francis Physicians Endowment will help the organization expand its reach and serve even more individuals and families.
I would never have met them in an everyday life, going, you know. But in this situation, I got introduced to them. I pick them up and give them rides every week. They're inspirations to me.
The organization says it's not just a ride. It's a lifeline, providing hope, dignity, and relief. For Live 5 News, Maya Brown. Booked 7 times, convicted 3, released 6, and 2 cases still pending. Willie Nathaniel Robinson has been through the system time and time again, but a new charge has a past victim saying enough. I spoke to a woman who was involved in a 2017 shooting at this McDonald's drive-thru right here, and she is now turning her past trauma into action. She is now pushing for leaders to take a closer look at repeat offenders so that someone else doesn't become the next headline.
Never a victim, forever a fighter.
It's not just a tattoo. It's a reminder of the day that changed 17-year-old Amber Steele's life forever. On June 3rd, 2017, then 21-year-old Willie Nathaniel Robinson shot Steele in a McDonald's drive-thru. A day she says she was basically left for dead.
And I deal with PTSD. The backfire of a car, I'll jump completely out of my skin. I live in fear every day.
Robinson was charged and convicted with the unlawful carrying of a pistol since a gun wasn't found at the scene of the crime, serving a total of 1 day in jail. But that wouldn't be the last time he was involved with the law. County records show Robinson was booked again in 2019, 2020, 2025, and earlier this month. When Steele saw her offender was recently involved in another crime, she didn't want to stay silent.
And when I came home, people kept calling me a victim. And I told people I'm not a victim. If I was a victim, I'd be 6 foot under. I'm not a victim. I will always be a fighter. I'll never stop fighting.
Now she's fighting for the criminal justice system to take a closer look at repeat offenders.
I think they need to look at everything they've done before they let them out and all. And so that way they can't get out to do it again.
A call for tougher accountability for those with long rap sheets.
Say that our justice system needs to crack down and look at the past offenders. Because if they're repeat offenders, then that's the problem. They're getting away with the same thing, so they're obviously comfortable with what they're doing. And if you don't put a stop to it, then they're always just going to keep being comfortable.
The tattoo on her backside reminding her of her strength to carry on and in hope that no one else is harmed along the way. For Live 5 News, Maya Brown. A nationwide program is searching for the 10 million names of people who were enslaved in the U.S. across almost 3 centuries. And the Avery Research Center in Charleston is helping add names to that list. Part of that search includes archives and documents found at the oldest AME church in the South, Mother Emanuel AME Church.
You're going to find things about the ministry. There may be things about baptisms, things about burials, just all of the archives of the church.
Over 200 years of history providing clues to names of the enslaved and the lives they lived. Archivists and historians say it also provides the church an opportunity to tell a story not rooted in tragedy and death, but one of life.
The story of Mother Emanuel is so broad and just tales of fortitude and community. So we get to bring color to Mother Emanuel. We get to bring life into those discussions and show the full history of Mother Emanuel.
And not just the full history of the church, but of all the enslaved. A history experts say was deliberately obscured, altered, or never even recorded, making it hard for Black Americans today to know where they came from.
I have that kind of gap that I don't know where, family trees align and all that, but I think if I can be a part of someone else finding that and just connecting those dots with something that may have been more obscure that I'm bringing to light, that's really important.
Connecting dots will lead to connecting living descendants with their family history all through a publicly accessible database.
Often people will come back and say, my great-great-grandmother was buried in a cemetery here, but I don't know where. And they don't know where to start. But it should at least give them a platform to start that research so that these people are never forgotten.
10 million names. It's an effort between research centers like Avery, Black churches like Mother Emanuel, and other historical organizations, all with the want to know the names, origins, and life stories of one's ancestors. And it's a feat project leaders say will help the country learn from its past. Reporting in Charleston, I'm Maya Brown, Live 5 News. $610.31. That's how much one resident in the brand new Tea Farm subdivision in Ravenel paid for their water bill. But they're not alone. Other residents are saying their water bills are surging, some topping $700.
$610 for 1 month of water to me was outrageous. I'm used to paying $56 at the most before we moved here. So I was flabbergasted.
Several residents have statements showing tens of thousands of gallons used. Water they say they didn't knowingly run.
There has to be something wrong with the billing. How do you calculate 30,000 gallons of water being used by a family of 3?
Charleston Water System says its meters are reading correctly and they found no leaks. And they tell us the bigger question. how the water is being used may come down to the developer and the residents, not the utility.
What we're learning is that some of the residents believe that the builder is actually irrigating on their behalf, and some town officials as well. So what you have is a challenge between the homeowner and the builder.
Residents say when they closed, they got 4 sprinklers and 2 timers, and many claim they've never even turned them on. But Charleston Water says its data points to hours of irrigation driving the spike. They say the water may be going to new sod being planted and watered by builders, with the bill landing in homeowners' mailboxes.
This has to get rectified because this is like a mortgage payment for some people. We need answers. Why are these bills so outrageously high, and what's going to be done about it?
In response, developer Ashton Woods says Ashton Woods has no access to a home's water service after closing and does not have any control over individual homeowner water bills. So the question is now, who used the gallons of water, and should residents ultimately have to pay?
Our heart absolutely goes out to people every time they get an exorbitant bill, but unfortunately there's no mechanism for them to recoup any costs because they did use the water, and whether the builder used the water or the homeowner, it still came from the residents' taps, and so they are fully responsible for that bill.
Charleston Water says the next bills for residents are lower, but they can't say it won't happen again. For now, residents are worried for that next bill to arrive. Reporting in Ravenel, Maya Brown, Live 5 News. What started as construction work is now a sensitive preservation issue. Citadel says 50 unmarked graves were unearthed during drainage work on land long believed to be a part of the Tower Hill Cemetery. And now advocates and preservationists want answers and actions.
It's not like a dumping ground. This was a place where people buried their beloved children and husbands and friends, and they were buried with care and love, with the belief that this would always be a cemetery and not a parking lot.
Beneath the lot and stands of Johnson Haygood Stadium is Tower Hill Cemetery with no clear boundaries. Enslaved people, Irish immigrants, asylum residents, Confederate soldiers, and sailors, mariners, even infants are buried there. And for generations, much of that history has been paved over. First built by the city, the Citadel bought the stadium in the 1960s, later moving and memorializing 341 sets of remains at Magnolia Cemetery. But many others were left behind, with no marker, no name, no memorial.
It's a sign of times past. And when you get to these Potter's Fields, you recognize that these are places that show the social and economic and racial history of Charleston in a way that we have chosen in many ways to ignore.
Now, after new reports and renewed scrutiny, the Citadel says any newly discovered remains will be re-entered and memorialized in an expanded protected area on the south side of the stadium. But preservation advocates say the bigger question remains. How do you protect a 23-acre public cemetery and ensure people are finally honored with the dignity they were denied in life?
I see this as an opportunity for them to hold on to their motto, honor, duty, respect. That's their motto, and I would like to believe that they're going to do something lovely at last. They did not cause this problem. They inherited it in 1963. So this is an opportunity for the city and the Citadel to shine, and I really hope they do.
For Live 5 News, Maya Brown. Bernard Hamilton has been waiting 23 years for answers about who killed his son. In documents obtained by Live 5 News, the case report is just 21 pages long. Hamilton says the lack of movement has only added to his frustration. With no arrests or any clear progress, he's now pushing publicly for justice. 2 days before Christmas in 2003, Bernard Hamilton's world stopped. His only child, Tracy Bernard Fuddy Hamilton, was shot and killed. And for 23 years, this grieving father has refused to let his son's name fade into a forgotten cold case.
This dog on 23 damn years. I don't expect it to happen overnight, but at least try to show me some effort.
Ever since that night, he's pressed Charleston police for answers. But with the case still stalled, Hamilton is pleading for movement. Charleston police say the case is still active. Detectives are following up on leads as they come in, and they'll pursue any credible new information while staying in contact with Hamilton about updates. But Hamilton says the communication has been limited.
I knew who all been involved, but I want to know what the officers, what they're planning to do. Because every time I hear somebody tell them what's what, They don't even, silly, they don't follow up. They don't care at all.
A December 2025 witness interview is now in the case file, alleging Tracy was tied to gambling and cocaine, and that the streets are blaming his cousin, claiming the motive was 9 ounces of cocaine. Hamilton admits his son gambled and was running with the wrong crowd, but he says police need to take what people are saying seriously, because he believes that update backs up suspicions he's had for years. While the investigation, he says, is moving far too slowly.
And the street talking, but you don't doing your part when the street talk. So that's the main thing about it. You got to work with the street just as well, too.
It's a plea he hopes investigators hear, because with no shell casings, recovered weapon, or DNA evidence, he's worried an arrest will never happen.
If I got to put a reward out, I'll put a reward out. I just want to know who all been involved.
10 years later, this is still the same courthouse the Walter Scott family has to go, because for them, justice isn't something you get, it's something you guard. They say a 20-year sentence they thought would stand could now be shortened because of a new federal law designed to reduce recidivism. Michael Slager could be released as early as fall of 2027. And today they came with one clear message: don't let accountability be temporary.
People say time heals all wounds, but time does not heal when justice keeps picking at the scar.
A scar representing the loss of Walter Scott, a black man who was shot and killed by former North Charleston Police Department officer Michael Slager. After a mistrial on state murder charges, he eventually received a 20-year sentence for a federal civil rights violation. A day, the family says, that brought them a sense of justice. But a new loophole is threatening that.
And I need people to understand what that feels like for families like mine. I'm not standing here asking for revenge. I'm standing here asking for justice.
That loophole is the First Step Act, a federal law designed to reduce recidivism and give some inmates a path home sooner. But prosecutors say it can also open the door for convicted police officers if their federal conviction isn't legally classified as a violent crime. And in Michael Slager's case, he was never convicted of murder or manslaughter, only a civil rights violation. The family says they've now been told Slager could be out as early as fall 2027.
Justice is not justice when families are left in the dark. Accountability is not accountability when consequences feel temporary for the person responsible, but not permanent for the victims.
The family says the offense was severe and violent, and the damage didn't end that day. They say the trauma still follows them, and they're worried an early release could open the door to future harm. And now they're urging the system to deny Slager any early release.
We've had progress, but now they're taking it away again. And what will happen again? They will continue to do the same thing that they've done. Oh, I'll serve a little bit of time and I'll be free again.
They call it a fight bigger than their family, one for the community and for others who've lived through police brutality. Families who, they say, put their faith in the justice system, expecting it to hold the guilty accountable.
We need you to write letters to the DOJ. We need that. Why? Because voices matter.
Got 20 years? He should do 20 years.
A chant asking for justice to not only be served, but upheld. Reporting in Charleston, I'm Maya Brown, Live 5 News. Gone, but not forgotten. That was not the case for thousands of loved ones buried at the historic Monrovia Cemetery.
I mean, the grass was sky high. Like, you could have barely seen headstones, to the point where you're like, I don't even want to be here. I don't know what's going on.
2 years ago, the Monrovia Cemetery was declared a non-perpetual care cemetery, meaning upkeep fell to families. But with limited funds, the sacred grounds were overtaken by heavy vegetation and battered by flooding.
When you saw the caskets protruding out of the ground, you saw the people, discovering that the fact that their loved one tomb headstone had either tilted over or floated somewhere, and they started searching for the doggone headstones. I mean, embarrassing.
Families then turned to State Representative Gilliard, who elevated their concerns and reached out to nearby developers to see who would step up. And that's when Highland Resources' Magnolia Landing got involved. Now a leaf has turned. Restoration with the promise of upkeep. But that's not all.
We're really excited about donating an acre of land that was part of Magnolia to the cemetery. What's great about it is it's already filled, so it's high. You don't have to worry about flooding, and then it gives Monrovia a place over the coming years to expand and grow into.
Developers have since raised the grounds with new soil to reduce flood risk, repaired damaged headstones, installed a weather-resistant fence, and landscaped the property, with more improvements still to come.
When you see the joy on people's faces and the comfort, knowing that their loved ones who have transitioned have a place of dignity and respect, and you know what would happen with the developer, and you calm people down, and this is the result of it all. I would hope that this would be like a marker for everybody.